You should be very proud. You should be very proud of what you did then. You ran a great race.
Yeah.
A great race.
Indeed, it was a great race. I mean, being able to come out here in the semifinal and do my thing is pretty incredible. So happy to be here. I couldn't ask for anything better.
The 17-year-old Australian sprint sensation is facing challenges that go way beyond what happened on the track in Tokyo. While everyone's talking about his semi-final exit, there's so much more to this story that people aren't seeing.
Gout back a bit at the moment. We know he'll be strong late. He needs a big finish here. He's well back. He's probably 8th into the stretch. Lavelle in front of Tebogo. Gout winding up and winding up. It's Lavelle, Tebogo. Gout gets through to 4th. It's 1978, so he's probably run about 20.1.
Let's start with what actually went down at the World Athletics Championships. Thursday night in Tokyo, September 18th, and the Japan National Stadium was buzzing with anticipation. Gout Gout was about to run the biggest race of his young life in the men's 200-meter semifinals. The conditions weren't ideal. Light rain had been falling earlier, making the track wet, and there was a cool breeze cutting through the stadium. But this was it, his chance to make history as potentially the first Australian to legally break the 20-second barrier at a major championship. When the gun went off, Gout found himself in 7th place as they came around the bend at the 100-meter mark. He was trailing behind Jamaica's Brian Level and Botswana's Letsile Tebogo, the reigning Olympic champion. But then something beautiful happened. Gout unleashed that finishing speed that first made the world take notice of him. He powered down the home straight, moving up through the field with that signature kick. The crowd was on their feet as he crossed the line in 4th place with a time of 20.36 seconds. It wasn't enough to make the final, but what happened next showed exactly the kind of person Gout is. Instead of wallowing in disappointment, the teenager went around to every single runner in his heat and shook their hands. Talk about class beyond his years. Now that time of 20.36 might sound disappointing when you consider his national record stands at 20.02, but let's put this in perspective. When Usain Bolt made his World Championship debut in Helsinki back in 2005, he ran 20.68 in his semifinal. Bolt was nearly 19 years old at the time. Gout won't even turn 18 until December 29th. The kid ran faster than the greatest sprinter in history did at his first major championship. And Bolt was actually there in Tokyo watching from trackside as this new generation of sprinters battled it out. But here's where things get interesting with the competition Gout was up against. Brian Level won the heat in 19.78 seconds, followed by Tebogo in 19.95. To make the final, Gout would have needed to run 19.97, just over 3/10 faster than what he managed. Then there was Noah Lyles in the 3rd semifinal. The defending champion and Paris Olympics 100-meter gold medalist absolutely destroyed the field with a world-leading time of 19.51 seconds. After crossing the line, Lyles was buzzing with confidence. He told reporters that when he heard Britain's Jarnell Hughes coming up beside him during the race, he thought to himself, "You ain't catching me." The message today was that they can't beat me. Lyles even admitted he surprised himself with the time, saying he was expecting something more like 19.60 or 19.70. He finished by telling everyone not to miss Friday's final because it's going to be magical, but what Lyles said about Gout after the race really stood out. The American superstar, who's 28 years old and has been dominating sprinting for years, made a stunning admission.
More talented than I was. I mean, there's been nothing but great talent coming up. He's an amazing kid. You got a great head on him. You got a great team around him. It's going to be interesting to see how he develops. The thing that I always look for when I'm looking at younger talent is, hey.
Coming from someone of Lyles' caliber, that's huge praise. For context, when Lyles was 17 back in 2015, he ran 10.14 in the 100 meters and 20.18 in the 200 meters 200. Those are solid times, but they don't quite stack up to what Gout has already achieved. Lyles also pointed out something crucial about Gout's future development.
It's going to be interesting to see how he develops. The thing that I always look for when I'm looking at younger talent is, hey, are you just going to be able to train into shape, one? Because when you're in high school, you're able to just get like races all the time whenever you want. But as a pro, you got to race, you got to come prepared already. And then two, just seeing how they put some, weight room on him.
This brings us to the real challenges facing Gout right now and why there might be some bad news on the horizon. First up, Gout has to go back to being a regular high school student. While other athletes will be focusing purely on their training and recovery, Gout has his final QCE exams waiting for him back in Brisbane. He's not just any student either. He's known for maintaining high grades and has expressed interest in studying psychology. Think about that pressure for a second. 1 week, you're racing against the fastest men on the planet in front of millions of viewers worldwide, and the next week, you're sitting in a classroom trying to focus on exam preparation. That's a mental switch that would challenge anyone, let alone a teenager. But Gout seems to be taking it all in stride. After his semifinal, he was surprisingly upbeat despite missing out on the final. Semi-finalist and got to compete against the big guys, couldn't be prouder of myself for sure. He said, with that infectious smile of his, obviously I was aiming for that sub-20, but today wasn't the day. God didn't allow it today, but I know for sure in the future it's going to be coming. The maturity in his response was remarkable. When asked about what he learned from the experience, Gout said,
"What's been the biggest eye-opener for you?"
I think the biggest eye-opener is knowing that I can compete at the young age I am against the against the best men in the world. So that's been definitely the biggest eye-opener for me, and just knowing that I can actually go out there, run my heart out, and still place against these grown men. So it's definitely great.
Then he said something that really shows his mindset.
Is I got time. You know, they may not have 15 years, but I got 15 years for sure. So I know that I can keep running, and I know that if I can do this at 17, I can do this at 25 as well, and I'll be even better at 25. So it's definitely great to know that.
But while Gout is staying positive, the reality is that his life is about to get a lot more complicated. The pressure and expectations around him are growing by the day. Some American sprinters have already taken shots at him on social media, with one posting a TikTok video saying, "The next Usain Bolt got brutally destroyed at the World Championships." Comments like that completely miss the point of what Gout achieved in Tokyo. Making a World Championship semifinal at 17 years old in your first major competition is extraordinary. When Bolt made his Olympic debut in 2004, he didn't even make it out of the first round. The media attention is only going to intensify from here. Australian broadcaster David Colbert, who was a teammate of Cathy Freeman, drew comparisons between Gout's impact and what Freeman did for Australian athletics. Colbert told Gout this after the race: "I was a teammate of Cathy Freeman's, so I have been on that ride and seen someone transform a sport, and that's what you're now doing." That's a massive statement and puts enormous expectations on someone who hasn't even finished high school yet. Gout acknowledged that sometimes the pressure gets to him, but mostly it washes over him. He said it's such an incredible thing for Australia and that he can't wait for more. But managing those expectations while still developing as both an athlete and a person is going to be one of his biggest challenges. The transition from high school athletics to professional competition is another major hurdle coming up. As Lyles pointed out, the training and competition schedule changes dramatically. In high school, you can race frequently and often. As a professional, you need to be much more strategic about when and how often you compete. There's also the physical development aspect. Gout is still growing and filling out his frame. Adding muscle and strength needs to happen naturally over time, not all at once. His coach Di Shepherd has been praised by Lyles for her approach, with the American saying she's constantly looking to be a better coach and constantly looking to be the best for him. As Gout heads back to Brisbane for his exams, he carries with him the knowledge that he belongs on the world stage. At just 17, he's already faster than most sprinters will ever be, and he's shown he can handle the pressure of major competition. The bad news isn't really bad news at all. It's just the reality of being a world-class athlete while still being a kid. But if anyone can handle it, it's Gout Gout.
Apart from Noah Lyles, he pretty much puts me under his wing, so he's a great guy, and he's the only one I pretty much need for sure. Obviously lucky.
17-year-old Gout Gout said something surprising about Noah Lyles. No one expected it, and it instantly raised questions about their connection. Was it just respect? Or is there something more going on between the rising star and the sprint king? He stood at the starting blocks in Tokyo, not yet a global star by many measures, but with everything looking up. Gout Gout, a 17-year-old from Australia, had one thing in his mind: make every moment count in the 200 meters at the World Athletics Championships. It was his first senior world championship, and from the way he had trained, from everything he had done, he believed he belonged. Noah Lyles, already a household name in sprinting, was just behind him on the track this time. Lyles has earned multiple world titles in the 200 meters. He is confident, powerful, and experienced. He had stepped into the championship saying he doesn't plan to lose. That phrase was quiet but loaded. In Lyles' world, every step, every posture, every muscle mattered. In that moment, two stories would intertwine, one of legacy, one of incoming promise. Gout Gout is not just another teenager with speed. He shattered the Australian 200-meter record earlier in the season with a time of 20.87 seconds. That mark put him firmly on the radar, drawing comparisons to the greats. Many saw echoes of Usain Bolt, the long legs, the lean, powerful finish, the ability to surge in the second half of a race. Still, for Gout, this world stage was something new, something to test everything he had built.
Gout, and Josiah John out wide from WA. Josiah John, Gout though now shows his class. Gout from Queensland, 20.87. That is a national record.
He's in year 12 at school. He has final exams. He grew up in Queensland as a child of South Sudanese refugees. Every run, every record, every visible moment has carried more weight than just a result. To him, it's about proving he deserves to be here, not just in Tokyo, but in the broader world of elite sprinting. The World Athletics Championships in Tokyo brought together the best 200-meter runners on the planet. Noah Lyles, fresh off wins and expectations, started his campaign with a heat run in under 20 seconds 19.99. He looked relaxed, sharp, ready, not pushing to his limit yet, holding himself in reserve but showing clearly where he belongs, among the favorites. Gout Gout's heat came with its own pressures. He was not just competing against opponents, he was competing against expectations. He wanted a personal best. He hoped to reach the semifinals. If he could, maybe finals. Every step forward left nothing between him and what many would regard as an improbable dream. But he prepared. The heat was his chance to show respect for his talent and readiness. He blocks. That has been identified as a weaker part of his race, something he acknowledges. But what followed was a familiar strength. Once he got settled into his running, he flew. He surged, overtook rivals, and managed to finish third in his heat with a time around 20.23 seconds. That was good enough to advance. Not perfect yet, but enough to keep the story going. Meanwhile, Noah Lyles didn't just cruise, he marked his territory. He ran clean, strong, composed. He looked sharp. He made it clear this was his event, one he loves. The 200-meter has always been his favorite. It's not just another race for Lyles. It's the one where everything aligns. Speed, curve running, acceleration, endurance. It's his moment. One of the most striking parts of Gout Gout's journey is not just his raw speed, but how grounded he is. He did not arrive in Tokyo saying he had already achieved everything. He admitted to nerves, butterflies. He said he deserves to be here, but also that he must earn every step forward. He speaks of fun, of enjoying racing, not letting pressure paralyze, not trying to carry expectations that belong to everyone else. An important thread running through his preparation has been the influence of Noah Lyles. Gout respects Lyles. He has taken advice about saying no when needed, balancing responsibilities, protecting mental space. Those may sound like small things in sprinting where milliseconds matter, but over time they compound. They protect consistency, guard against burnout, and help preserve joy in competition. For Lyles, the mindset is clear. I don't plan to lose. It is not empty bravado. It is carved from years of racing, winning, sometimes failing, and always pushing forward. When he runs, he knows what is expected. He knows what he wants, and he has trained to show up when it matters. That confidence sends a message to rivals, to younger athletes, and to himself. But talent and confidence aren't guaranteed. For Gout, a slower start off the blocks reminds everyone that every detail matters. Curve running, reaction time, staying relaxed when stakes feel high. Also, physical condition, heat, travel, the pressure of the world watching. Any small misstep can cost. He has to lift performance, not just in splits, but in mental focus. The semifinals will see tougher competition, more seasoned runners, more expectation. Each round, everything gets harder. Noah Lyles' challenge is to stay composed too. When you are identified as a favorite, everything becomes pointed at you. Rivals watch your every move. Psychologically, the burden can be heavier than physical fatigue. He cannot afford to underestimate anyone. He must execute in rounds, maintain sharpness. Mistakes at this level are costly. One bad curve, a poor start, or anything less than perfection can open the door for somebody else. When the semifinals roll around, the audience can look for certain key moments. First, the start. Gout needs to improve the first 20 to 30 meters. That could make a huge difference if he's up against top sprinters with excellent reaction times. Also, curve to straight transition. That's where Gout showed ability in his heat. Once through the bend, he opened up. If he can hold rhythm, stay strong entering the straight, he can compete. For Lyles, curve running and maintaining top speed without tightening up will be crucial. Another thing is psychological control, nerves, breathing, and focus. Gout has said he's learning how to stay calm under pressure. Lyles already knows that, but favorites often face the toughest pressure. How they handle expectation matters. Finally, fitness across rounds, semi and final back-to-back. Can they recover? Can they stay fresh? Their warm-ups, pre-race routines, mindset between runs will count. Gout Gout is more than just a promising athlete. He represents something rare, raw potential, combined with humility and balance. A young person who wants more than speed. He wants identity, consistency, and impact. He wants to show that he belongs among the best. The world is watching. For Australia, he is already a star. But big moments are those that define careers. Tokyo may decide how he is viewed, as someone who got close or someone who announced himself. Noah Lyles, meanwhile, is chasing not just another title, but legacy. He is trying to do what only a few sprinters have done, dominate across years, across rounds. The 200-meter has been kind to him, but he knows rivals are hungrier, conditions tougher, margins thinner. For him, this race is not just about medals, it's about standards, setting them, defending them, extending what is possible. As the semifinals get closer, all eyes are on Gout Gout and Noah Lyles. If Gout runs with courage and stays calm, he could surprise everyone. For Lyles, it's another chance to prove he's still the best when it matters most. This race isn't just about who wins. It's about pressure, growth, and the battle between a rising star and a champion who doesn't plan to lose. Don't blink. This could be the race that changes everything.
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's been like a long process. Like this time last year, I was at World Juniors, so coming out here in my first open outdoor season is amazing, and I'm really excited to be out there running against the best in the world.
Nobody expected a 17-year-old to arrive at the World Championships already holding a national record, but Gout Gout isn't like anyone else. Calm under pressure and fast beyond belief, the Australian sprint prodigy is stepping onto the global stage with serious momentum and something to prove. Gout Gout's road to Tokyo has been nothing short of remarkable. The 17-year-old sprint sensation first gained attention after dominating junior and state-level competitions in Australia. With blistering speed and maturity well beyond his years, he didn't just make noise, he broke records. Earlier this year, he clocked an astonishing 20.02 seconds at the Golden Spike meet in Ostrava, setting a new Australian national record in the 200 meters. Now, he's preparing to make his senior international debut at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. Despite being the youngest in the field, Gout enters with one of the top times recorded by any Australian ever. While many of his rivals are in their 20s, Gout remains undaunted, focused, and determined to make every round count. As he steps onto the track at Japan National Stadium, the anticipation is real. He's not just a teenager with potential anymore, he's a national record holder representing Australia on one of the biggest stages in the sport. Whether he advances to the final or not, his presence in Tokyo is already historic. And for a 17-year-old still finishing school, this is only the beginning. The world had just witnessed a glimpse of greatness. The 200-meter sprint is unforgiving. Every millisecond counts. But for Gout, 20.02 seconds was not the finish line. It was just the beginning. He had already recorded wind-assisted runs faster than this, including a jaw-dropping 19.84 seconds in Perth. Though not legal for record purposes due to the tailwind, that performance hinted at what was to come, his goal. to become the first Australian in history to officially dip below the 20-second barrier. Being able to run under 20 seconds is a great achievement, he told the media. When you get under 20, you know you can achieve more. Running 19 means you're up there for sure. Ambitious? Definitely. But unrealistic? Not even close. At these championships, Gout Gout knows exactly who he's chasing. Names like Noah Lyles, Kenneth Bednarek, and Letziel Tebogo dominate the sprinting world. Lyles, the reigning Olympic 100-meter champion and 200-meter bronze medalist, is a full decade older than Gout, but that age gap doesn't intimidate him. It inspires him. What makes Gout's debut so impressive is the context. Every finalist in the 200 meters at the Paris Olympics was at least 20 years old. 6 of them were 24 or older. Gout? He's still in high school preparing for exams while preparing to race the fastest men in the world. While many fans expected him to compete in the 100 meters too, Gout and his coaching team made a deliberate choice. They focused exclusively on the 200 meters, skipping the 100 meters at the national championships earlier this year. The reason? The 200 meter suits his strengths.